This show is sponsored by Sims Business Systems, Arizona's #1 family-owned technology boutique, serving your copy, print, IT, and teleconferencing needs since 1978. Smartify your business with Sims.
Welcome to Exposing Entrepreneur Secrets. I am your host, Shawn Sims Bradford. This is the show where we get to know the secrets behind the business owner's success, and we get to know more about the business owner by learning about his or her triumphs, challenges, and getting to know their heart, mind, and soul. I am so excited to have Fred Nolke with Baucom Nolke in the studio with me today. Welcome, Fred.
Thank you.
And did I pronounce everything okay?
You did.
All right. Thank you for helping me. Now, you started your structural engineering firm in 2003, which was 16 years ago. What was really the driving force for you to start your firm?
Well, at the time, I was a principal in one of the larger firms.
Okay.
And I helped grow that firm from just a couple of people to 70 people. But
Impressive.
What's interesting with owners of firms, when the firm is real small, the promises fly and things are loose. Mm-hmm. As the firm gets bigger, they hold it closer and closer, and they don't want to give out pieces of their firm. So it was taking them a long time to put together the partnership stuff that they had promised me.
Yes.
And after a while, I thought, I can just do this on my own. And we were also working 70-plus hours a week, and my job was to whip the horses. Yeah. And it was just getting too much. So I was out on a hike down in the Santa Rita Mountains with Greg Baucom, and he said, "Did you ever think about starting your own firm?" And I said, "Absolutely. In fact, right now I am thinking about it." He said, "Did you ever think about having a partner?" And I said, "Nope, but sounds like a good idea." So that was it.
That's a beautiful story, and I love, because later on in the show I cannot wait to ask you where this beautiful photo of you on your website with the snow-capped mountains was taken, but we'll get into that. And I love that this big inspiration came to you while you were hiking. Do you get a lot of inspiration while you're hiking, or was that a one-off?
No, I do. I spend a lot of time hiking and backpacking with my boys, and so, yeah.
And great ideas come to you then.
Yeah. A lot of alone time, a lot of talking one-on-one with God, and just it's just a great time.
Get to receive that inspiration and to ask for direction.
Exactly.
It's amazing. Now, I am sure over 16 years of running a successful business, there have been some bumps, some challenges. Is there one or two that you'd be willing to share with us?
Sure. The biggest challenge overall over the entire 16 years was the Great Recession. But we came through it. We were over 20 people at the time, and we had to go down to 5. So in 2003, we started out just Greg and I and a drafter.
Yes.
And then grew the business. Things were moving along, and so that was a tough time, laying people off.
Yes.
The hardest thing for a business owner, in my opinion. It's not collecting, it's not finding the work, it's not doing the work, it's laying people off when the times require it.
And how do you do that with grace?
Well, it's interesting. Before I started the company, I went back to the people I worked for right out of college. Mm-hmm. Great firm, largest firm in the valley, great guys. And I asked them for advice, and one of the owners said, when times get slow, and they always do, don't hold on to people longer than you should. It almost bankrupted them. Don't make the same mistake. The recession came. We had money in the bank. We can bridge this. It won't last that long. Well, it did, and it kept, yeah. So, the people understood. They knew they kept us longer than we should have.
Yes.
They understood. They didn't have any work, yet they were coming in every day, and we were paying them. So they understood, and they took it well.
Yeah, and I would guess you being you had, a heartfelt conversation with them, and yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that's great advice. Thank you for sharing that. What's another challenge that you faced?
Collecting. It's always a challenge.
Yes.
You learn who are good payers and who aren't.
Mm-hmm.
You know that. And, sometimes you have to cut ties with the people who aren't. I mean, it's just you have to put food on the table and pay your employees and keep the doors open.
Yeah. You have to get real practical about it.
Yep.
And you have an obligation to those employees and the families, and you have to collect.
Yeah.
So you can keep getting more work.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably the other large challenge that we face, fortunately, very infrequently, is lawsuits. The construction industry is a very tough industry, and when things go wrong for whatever reason, everybody gets sued.
Oh, yeah.
And you're a part of it, even if you had nothing to do with it.
Oh,
and
gosh.
They say, well, it's just business. Don't take it personally. It doesn't get more personal than that.
No, I bet it doesn't. Ugh. Now, when you go on your website, I was instantly drawn to the work that you've done. You've got some really cool pictures up there, and you've done some awesome work. Children's Museum, Phoenix Zoo, Tempe, History Museum, Mercedes-Benz. That's just to name a few. And I, of course, immediately clicked on the Children's Museum, that structure when you first walk in that you climb in, because I have been in there with my children. I want to know more about that project.
That was a fun project. That's probably the more complicated structure when you really think about it. I've done some 16-story buildings. That is a little more complicated.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
I always think of the game when we were kids, the pixie sticks, where it was just a pile of sticks leaning on each other.
Yes.
That's what that structure is.
Yes.
And so to follow the loads down to the ground and make sure that everything is strong and safe, we did a 3-dimensional analysis of it. And we actually took the physical model that the artist, Kevin Winters, gave us, and we had to put coordinates to each intersection and build it in the computer. Then we put live load on it and started getting it to move and seeing what the forces were. But when it was being constructed, of course, things were changing. The artist wanted to make some minor changes to make things more fun for the kids. And, he's creating as they're building.
Yes.
And so we had to make those changes on the fly. And Dave Schuff of Schuff Steel donated all of the material, all of the labor, and all of the modeling costs.
Oh, bless his heart.
Yeah. So that was a fun project.
So to all of you listening, this is in the Children's Museum in downtown Phoenix, Arizona. When you first walk in, you immediately see this 4-story structure, and it's incredible. And any parent is super excited right now that has been to the Children's Museum in Phoenix because they've watched their kids have so much fun in there. They've had so much fun. And the man that helped this come to life is in front of me. Have you climbed in it?
Oh, a lot.
A lot. I have a lot, too. I just have one complaint. You know, that one section where I get stuck in here a lot when my kids were younger. It's if you've walked in and you're facing the structure to the furthest left, it's the only way that you get down without stairs. So you're in the tunnels and you have to crawl on your hands and knees and then go down another tunnel. Yep. Every time I would start to follow my kids down there, I'm like, no, I should have gone down the stairs.
Yep.
Oh.
It's a fun. I was just in it a couple of months ago because they were revamping all of the netting. Oh. And I said, this is a perfect opportunity for me to look at all the welds and the bolts and make sure this thing is, as strong as it was the day it opened. So that was fun. And while it was being built, I was out there early in the morning when sections were completed, and I was jumping up and down on it and getting that thing moving and rock and rolling because I wanted to see, a computer is one thing.
Yes.
Real life is another. So it was fun.
And you've provided endless fun and tons of future fun to thousands of children. So thank you for that. Besides that amazing project, what is one of your sweetest achievements or projects that you really hold near and dear to your heart?
Probably the Mariposa Land Port of Entry project. Down on the border, they completely demolished the existing port of entry and built a gigantic port of entry for all of the truck traffic and vehicle traffic. It's not in Nogales. It's west of Nogales. It's where the main highway goes from Mexico to the United States. That was a fun project. The architect was very creative, lots of cantilevers, exposed structure. So that one was a really fun project.
It sounds exciting. And how long ago did you finish that one?
They built it in phases, so they probably finished construction in 2010, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe 11.
Very cool. Now, what would you say to a new structural engineer student that is just completing school and may want to start their own business? Would you tell them to go get experience first with somebody?
Well, absolutely. They have to become a registered engineer. And so they have to work for another engineer for 4 years before they can even take the exam.
Okay.
So during that 4 years, go slow. Learn everything you can. Make your basics solid because you'll rely on those later.
That is excellent advice. And after that 4 years, let's even, say 8 years, they wanted to start their own business. What are a few words of wisdom that you would give to them, Fred?
Do it the right way. Don't steal your current employer's consultants.
Mm-hmm.
Do it the right way. If you did your job well and people like you, people will follow you. It may not be their biggest clients, but some of their clients may just say, hey, I prefer to work with you. You've taken care of me. I've trusted you over all these years. And so you're going to start out small with some small projects, but that's okay because it will follow. As long as you are faithful in what you do, your success will follow.
That's beautiful advice for anything. Be unique, be yourself, and use your unique gifts to really contribute and to give back.
Exactly.
I like that. Thank you. Now, I also want to know, as I promised a little bit earlier, a little bit more about you. When we go to your website, I see this glorious picture of you with snow-capped mountains. You have a hat on. I'm thinking you're either hiking or skiing. Do you know what picture I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Tell me about it.
That's Telluride.
Okay. It looks beautiful. What were you doing there?
Skiing. That's my most favorite place on earth.
Okay. And how often do you go skiing?
As much as I can when there's good snow.
Mm-hmm.
This has been a great year for it. But that Telluride is my happy place. Even in the summertime, I'll go there just to get away, hike.
And what does it do for you? How do you feel when you're there? How do you feel when you come back?
When I'm there, everything is gone. Everything in the past releases. And I enjoy the moment and the people that I'm with. And then I get ready for coming back to the real world again.
And it sounds like you're not bringing any of that past with you, so you can start that week out completely in the moment, in the present, and totally without that heaviness of the past, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's the plan. It's tough because problems do follow you, and it's tough to clear them from your mind while you're enjoying your earned time.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get back, you can attack whatever issues you have with more vigor.
Yes, more presence, more vigor. I like that. I mean, it's just beautiful advice for anything we're doing, and Mother Nature has such a beautiful gift of helping us to get more focused and be present. So like you said, you can take that back to work and solve any problems with a lot more focus and probably more creativity.
Yes, absolutely.
And that brings me to a unique question. In your work, of course, everything has to be precise. This is building we're talking about. And like you said, with the Children's Museum, people are walking on a structure that you put together. How do you bring your own unique creativity into your work?
I think what we do is we keep it small. When you have a small firm, you can give your clients more in-depth, one-on-one time. Mm-hmm. You're involved in the engineering of all of the buildings. Even if you've got engineers working on those buildings, we're closely involved on the day-to-day decision-making of sizes and connections and things like that. And so if we spend more time on each individual project, the project's going to be more successful when it's being constructed, even with the problems that come along with every project during construction or during the final stages of design. If you've spent a good amount of time on these projects, it's going to work out well for the architect, and that's the guy who has to answer to the owner. And
Okay. And so there's a lot of collaboration with the architect, with the owner, and probably with a lot of other folks that are involved in one project, yes?
oh, absolutely, yep.
And what is so that's a lot of leaders, a lot of business owners all working together. What are some of your keys to success for making all that collaboration happen?
Communication. Communication not just with the architect, but with my employees, and my employees' communication with the people working underneath the architect.
Yes.
And then while it's under construction, good communication with the field, with the contractor, and a good working relationship with the contractor. We don't have huge egos. When the contractor suggests doing something that would make his life easier and it would still handles the loads and is safe, we're all for it.
Life advice as well. You know, you work together to do what's best for everybody, which is beautiful. And communication is huge, whether it's business or personal life. What are some things that you've worked on over the years to really fine-tune your communication?
Oh, probably my my propensity to get angry when things are not done well. I have to corral that a little bit and just understand where the person was coming from that was not exactly doing things correctly, because we all make mistakes, and so it's just a matter of understanding who you're working with and solving the problem.
Oh, I like that. And just seeing other people's perspectives and, like you already said, not holding so tight on to maybe the original idea, but expanding to, again, just do what's best for everybody.
Right.
That's incredible. It's awesome. What motivates you every single day to get out of bed and make these very creative projects and to do all this collaboration and communication? What's your driving, motivating force?
Probably my family. I mean, I like spending time with them, so I get up early, I get to work, I get the things done so that I can have the rest of the day and the weekends to spend with them.
That's awesome. And do you do a lot of things with them in nature, or do you also take them on these hiking adventures and skiing adventures?
Oh, yeah. They all ski.
Wonderful.
And they all backpack. We've backpacked some pretty amazing places.
Oh, I want to hear a little bit about that. What is your favorite place that you've backpacked?
Oh, probably Denali in Alaska.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was a little nervous about the grizzlies with the young boys, but
How old were your boys at the time?
12 and 14.
Can you paint I want to visualize this. Can you paint a picture? What time of year did you go? What was the scenery like? It's just, I'm getting this beautiful picture in my head, and I want everybody else to see it.
It was July last summer, and it was gorgeous. In fact, we were extremely fortunate because we could see Denali from base to peak for the entire week. That's unheard of. Most people get to see the base or they see a little bit of the peak. We saw the entire thing for an entire week until clouds moved in. So we were in the back country, in the back of the park, and we saw grizzlies and caribou, and it was just beautiful.
Oh, my goodness. And how did that, it sounds exquisite. How did that bond your family?
It's some of that is tough on the boys. There's no video games, there's no cell service, there's nothing except for nature, and the bugs are pretty thick. And sometimes the hikes are grueling. We've done some hikes in Colorado where they went up 4,000 feet in 7 miles, up at an elevation of 12,000. And for young kids, that was tough on them. I call it the Trail of Tears.
Yeah, I've experienced that when I take my kids on little hikes. So that's impressive, and also for me inspiring, and definitely a future family goal. Because you're spending the night in the park as well, correct?
Oh,
Camping.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's a beautiful bonding experience. Thank you for sharing that slice of your personal life. So I want to get back to advice that you would give to another business owner that has maybe had their business for 2 or 3 years that are struggling to bring on a new client, to keep everything moving forward, what would you tell them?
Just persistence. There's nothing that substitutes persistence. And if they do their work well and they're honest and true to the client they're pursuing, most times those clients will give you an opportunity. Even if they're married to another consultant or another business, they'll give you some kind of opportunity, because you never know when, as a business owner, you never know when the person that you're giving the work to may falter or may be too busy to take on your work. You need somebody else. So be that other person at the beginning and do a good job, and who knows, one day you might be their primary go-to.
And what I already knew about you, but what I'm really hearing and feeling is you have built your business on such solid foundation of integrity, honesty, hard work, and being true to you and your craft, and really developing your ideas based on your own ideas and not somebody else's. Was that hard to maintain those foundations through the tougher times, to the recession, or have you always been really solid with those strong core values?
I think I've been strong. I had those same values when I was an employee and working long hours, and I wasn't getting the profits.
Yeah.
But it was the right thing to do. It had to be done. Yeah. So,
well, it's heartwarming and refreshing to see those values that, as a mom and an entrepreneur myself, that I want to instill in my kids. I hope that I have as well. So it's so nice and refreshing to see how you have built such a successful business over staying true to those values. It's really cool.
I've been blessed.
And you're humbled, and you're humble, and you appreciate all that you have, which is another beautiful virtue. Is there anything that you would like to leave our listeners with? Any other words of wisdom, advice that you'd like to leave?
Have fun.
Yeah, right? Have fun. And which is why I'm so happy you agreed to do this, because it's fun getting to know you more. Last question, I promise. What does the future hold for you?
Probably transition the business to somebody else, one of the employees that really wants to hit the ground running and have clients that are already his clients, his or her clients. So, and then just retire.
I love it. Fred, thank you so much again for coming on our show. If you would all like to learn more about Fred's structural engineer firm, you can visit his website. It is BAKKUMNOELKE.com. Once again, that's BAKKUMNOELKE.com. Thank you, Fred.